Hi everybody, welcome for the battle report of the 4th game of WTC 2023. We were playing against Ottenbach, which is the second French team. They ended up second at the French qualifier, so they don't go to ETC. TRC won it, but they are still a good team. They play a lot of tournament, also international tournament like this one. And basically, after day one, we are like 4th. We know that we need a big win here to be able then to play the final against TRC or Poland. So we need to score big, and this is also the word of our coach who says, let's try to get some points here. I'm paired against their Vermin Swarm player, Laura Lish, that I know really well. And usually Vermin Swarm is not bad at all for Ogre, so I was quite happy about the pairing. He plays the following list. He has a Bell, guy on the Bell with 3 spell of Witchcraft. Especially for the 21 range random move, which is really great. Comet guy, Dictator, who is giving some combat res buff if he's in close combat. The 3 assassins that are in most of the list nowadays. 48 black for veteran, 3 units of legionnaires, a small one for the bell and 2 big one, 2 units of slaves, 2 units of grenadiers, 1 arena beast and 3 dreadmill chariots. So quite usual Vermin Swarm list. I think the big debate is always, do you want to put the Dictator or a normal guy on foot? In this case, he decided to go for the Dictator, which for me, in the past has been, I had positive experience against Dictator because this opens up for me the option of going in a charge, do a lot of combat result, and then you need to crumble a bit, which helps me basically killing down the blocks. So in the past, I've been liking more to play against the Dictator than the list without, I guess. I would say so. We played King of the Hill on Encircle. Spell selection was pretty straightforward. I went with a lot of combat buffs, so Smite, Hereditary, +1 Resilience, Break the Spirit. I think here no big interest for the other spell like Totemic Summon that can get easily killed by Grenadiers. Swarm of Insect, End of Heaven as main threat for the Grenadiers, and then I had Chilling Goal as well for the range. And he has the usual suspect, I would say, so Twisted Effigy, Random Move, the 4+ to wound. Then he has Comet Smite, Grave Call, and Rot Within, so very strong spell selection, both from range and close combat. Matchup analysis. So King of the Hill, I would be really happy to win the roll for side to basically force him to pick certain secondary or reduce his ability to pick favorable secondary and side. So I think here the roll for side would be better than starting. Trying to kill some grenadiers before going into combat because they are quite dangerous shooting into combat. Keep an eye on chariots. I will try to get rid of them quickly because they can charge far away and do some damage on the charge, so I need to be careful about them. That's the only unit that can zone me effectively, except the arena, I would say. The combat output of my 3 big units are usually an issue for Vermin Swarm, so I know that I need to get rid of some stuff and then position well, and I should be able to get favorable combat and try to threaten the Dictator with range damage if possible, thinking here about poison shooting. My estimation was a 12. I think it's slightly in my favor with some variation around the King of the Hill, who can pick what are the train, how easily I can go into his train or not. And the answer will be, it's going to be hard. He won't roll for side and pick a wall, so he picked the big flank and was able to pick a wall as his train to defend. Which leaves me with hill or water. I picked the water train and deploy everything for first turn and decided to go face to him. So what I did with deployment is, first of all, anticipating that he's going to play compact on the right. And that is going to be the arena beast on the left flank to basically delay me. So I put the shooty Merkvetzi on the left together with the Frosty. Then I had Dart, my Death Star with 3 characters. The dogs, another darts, the Tusker Cav that can here push towards the water and threaten his flank. And I debated a bit about the giant. At the beginning I decided, maybe the giant could be nice here, but then I thought if I anticipate the arena beast, it could easily zone all my monsters together, which could be annoying. So I put here on the flank and decided I might have opportunities to play some nasty tricks with the board edge. which was definitely a right decision. His counter deployment, so as expected, Arena Beast here Global Deer all the way to the back, slaves on each flank, the 3 wheel here, spear, this is the big block of black fur behind the walls, which is going to be very hard to fight, because most of my unit will be just hitting on 5s and wounding on 2s, but yeah, still not so easy. Then he has the Bell unit, the Dictator far away from my poison shot, and the last Global Deer unit. My turn 1, so I push. To my surprise, I was able to do Swift Reform, move 6 and be in range of the Arena Beast with all my shooter, which I think could have been easily avoided by my opponent, so I was really happy about that. And the rest just pushed the Death Star. I respected a bit what the wheel can do, and I didn't want them to charge easily my Chaff or my Tuskers or my Giant. And the Giant with the first turn 1 move couldn't get to a good position, so I just move a bit and will try to do a more aggressive move next turn. Magic Phase, End of Heaven failed, Swarm of Insect dispelled, and Murkvets did 3 wounds to the arena, punishing already his mistake to be in range. His turn 1, he didn't move much, as you can see, it's pretty compact, just move the arena out of the way. In the Magic Phase, he got Twisted Effigy on my Death Star, and that was already it. My turn 2. So I tried to be aggressive, like my coach asked me. Put the Giant to the flank, and the idea is if he charged me with the wheel, it's only 1 in base contact, so I'm likely to win combat, and I could get some nice counter charge as well. Even if I break, I mean, I'm going to be steadfast, but even if I break, I could get some nice counter charge. So this could be a good way to just get rid of the wheel, and if he doesn't react, then I could just charge him and get some opportunities with the Giant. And I do the same left flank, so here I still keep nice distance to not get charged by the wheel now that I make this aggressive move. And on the left, I felt there is room for me to push. I don't care much about the arena. If he moves forward, just going to turn around with the Murkvets and kill him at some point. So I just felt let's push forward, so I march both units forward, or just 6, no, I think just 6 forward to be able to shoot at the Global Deer and march with the Frosty as much as possible. And the Death Star remain on the hill, still respect some of his combat threat. Maybe I could have moved slightly more forward, I guess, but also I didn't want to come too close to the Bell to get random moved. Basically, that was also something that I was afraid of. The Magic Phase, I get End of Heaven, kill 1 Global Deer, and I kill another 5 with shooting, thanks mainly to the BSB always hitting on 4+. So really nice result from the shooting, only 4 remaining here. And that was hit. His turn 2, he attempted the long charge with the wheel against my Death Star, but on the random dice roll only a 2, meaning he didn't manage to get, so I'm going to be able to charge his flank, which is nice, bring back the arena, and the rest just remain compact. Try to come closer with the wheel with the Bell to get some random move. At some point in the Magic Phase, he got a Wrath of God here in front of the hill, which is going to be cutting a little bit my push, but I wanted to dispel the random move, which I didn't like much. So I let him have the Wrath of God, which is not great, but still in front of the hill. I felt I could minimize it during the time that I get rid of the arena, and then we'll see how I can push after that. So I felt during the time that I deal with the arena and the chart on the flank, I can accept a Wrath of God in front and move slightly back to then attack again. It's not great, but it leaves me times to get rid of some models, establish a superiority of threats, and then go back into pushing him. So I felt this was still acceptable. Yeah, that was it for his Magic Phase and shooting. Let's move to my turn 3. I charge with the Giant in the flank. I had nothing interesting to do with the Tusker charging from far away into the front. So I just move forward aggressively now with Tuskers, my Chaff and so on. I move slightly back with the Death Star and the Murkvets to make the Wrath of God hitting me on 8+, which I felt was okay. So everything here moved back, and I move out of arc with the Frosty. I could have tried to stay in arc and throw some hunting spears, but I felt I don't want the risk to fail my shooting and him charging me and killing the Frost. So I just move out of arc, move the Murkvets in range to shoot at the arena, which was enough for me. So I form kind of a battle line now again, and we'll see what the Giant does. Obviously, I don't want to overrun, but if I have to, I will be in his front, which is not nice. So we'll see, and there are also Global Deer. So I know that my Giant is likely to die, but if I get rid of the wheel, it's already nice because this allows me to push forward. In my Magic Phase, End of Heaven, I do 1 wound on the arena. Then with 3 dice against 5, I get Swarm of Insect off on his Dictator, which was a surprise, and did 2 wounds, and then I got +1 resilience on the Murkvets in case the Wrath of God hits me. Close combat, yeah, shooting, I did the 2 remaining wounds, so I killed the arena, which is nice. And close combat, I did 6 wounds, he did 1. And then those things like explode or something, they flee off the board. But when they break, they do d6, and they did 4 wounds to my giant, which is crazy, and some wounds here, so yeah, giant only 2 wounds left, and failed the restraint check, so I had to overrun, and I impact those guys, which is not great, but that's how it is. His turn 3, at least I took some points, we'll see how he reacts, so I have only 2 wounds left on the giant, which is not much, and he gets global deer and everything, so I'm going to be killed. He didn't move much, as you can see, magic phase. Also, those slaves failed the march check. I don't know what he would have done. Maybe push a bit more to try to bait my my Tuskers, but he failed that thanks to the giant being there. In magic phase, got twisted effigy on the Murkrats. I didn't care too much since I didn't have a lot of juicy target except the global deer, but I could still push forward aggressively, so I felt that's acceptable. And the Wrath of God did exactly what I needed, 7 inch, so it didn't reach any of my unit, which was really good, but at least it stopped my push, which is, I think, enough for him to just have slowed me down enough with the Wrath of God. So it was already something good. Yeah, shooting or close combat, he kills the giant, no problem. My turn 4. What did I do? So not much with the Tuskers. Not much with the Death Star that moves again on the hill. I push hard with the Mugvets out of arc of those guys. So pushing hard, not scared by them. Push hard with the Frosty as well. So now I can really push this left flank. We'll see how he reacts. The Tusker, yeah, gets into position, but I didn't find a good anything crazy to do, as you can see. Charging those guys behind the wall seems very complicated because he strikes first with so many attacks and he's distracting. So hitting on 5 seems a big problem. Yeah, I had nothing crazy to do now. And getting the charge here, I felt he has Grave Call, he has the Global Deer here. It's way too dangerous for me for the Tuskers. In the magic phase, I got a +1 resilience, possibly on the Murkrats to avoid a charge from them and also break the spirit on something. I don't remember on which unit, to be honest. And no shooting this time because of Twisted Effigy. He's turn 4, he chaffed my boss unit here. Move those guys forward, make sure that I have no overrun if I charge with the Tuskers into them. No overrun into anything. And that's more or less it. It didn't move much whole game, as you can see. He 5 dice random move on the Murkrats, and I decided to let that go because actually it's not that bad. I checked that I can chaff with them, the big unit, so it's not that bad. And that's what he gets, and with shooting didn't do anything, I think, to the first Mammoth. And my turn 5, which is going to be the last turn, but it's something that we didn't realize at the time. We only going to realize we are going to finish turn 5 during his magic phase of turn 5, so quite late. It was one of those things where you are exactly in the time between can we rush 5 and 6 or can we only make 5, and you don't want to take the decision because I felt I can take some good points playing more, so it's kind of hard. So we play turn 5 like there is a 6 after that, both of us actually, which makes us on the same level at least. So I charge here with both units into the slaves, chaff those guys, they cannot come into any combat here after combat reform, chaff those guys, charge the Tuskers. I debated a bit what I should do with the Tuskers. I think I took the timeout before that. We felt we could possibly charge here, but if I fail one of the long charges, one alone, I'm likely to break in 2 rounds of combat, which is way too risky. So we felt let's not do this. Then I decided for another option, which is not the best one. I charged the Tuskers into the Legionnaire, thinking in 2 rounds maybe I can, or yeah, until the end of the game I can crumble all of them, and the slaves in the flank are not an issue, which is not really accurate. Yeah, it's not so great what I chose. The right choice I think would have been to, from this position, to charge the Tuskers here, the dogs into the corner, and I think here there is enough space. As you can see, that's 50 millimeters, so with 75 I think that's likely that it fits here and that I could overrun into the Global Deer and the Tusker out of the board, and I think I'm likely to yeah, we'll see. A Global Deer, I don't know if there is enough space and if he can see me or not, and if he can close the door, but possibly at least Tuskers into them, kill them, overrun off the board, get rid of that, chaff that, and then I get both slaves and that's it. So would have been the right decision, I guess. Anyway, Magic Face, he Binding Scroll, Swarm of Insect. I got Hereditary on those guys, I guess. Close Combat, I just one-shot them before they strike, which was funny. And here I do quite a lot of result. He did nothing to me because he's wounding on 6 up, which is nice. So that's how we ended up after the reform. So I felt I should be fine. As you can see, I kill a good amount. How many are left? Like 2, 4, 6 times 5, so 30. I felt maybe I can get something. We will see. The thing is he cannot flee, so I cannot get to the wall or something. So that's the end of my turn 5. His turn 5, like we said, he played like it's going to be turn 6 after, which was fair. So he didn't take these ones, but just went into position to avoid my charges. I tried to get a charge from the Death Star, but as you can see, it's complicated the way he maneuvers. He charged me with the slaves in the flank and positioned the Global Deer to shoot me. In Magic Phase, I Binding Scroll will turn. He got Rot Within with 3 dice against 4 against the Tuskers, which is really annoying. I think he got -1. I'm not sure he got... I think he didn't got -1 Resilience, but he got a Grave Call on the cat and kill enough to take half point, which is annoying. But at least I passed Panic Check. And then Close Combat. He's going to do 3 wounds to my Tuskers, meaning I have only 1 model striking back, which is huge. And with my attack, I'm going to do a bunch, but not enough. And basically, he had a total of 10 with the charge and so on. And I have only a total of 8. I lose by 2, which is a check on 8, non-rerollable, and I fail that check, which, yeah, is annoying. At least I fled far enough with Swift Stride that he didn't catch me. So at least that's that. I only gave away half point, which is not so bad, but as you can see, the combat was way more risky than what I thought. And yet, it ended up being a 10-10. I took the arena, the slaves, and the chariot, and he took half the Tuskers, the giant, and half the tigers. Decisive roll for side. I think it's almost impossible for me to win the secondary after the deployment and the fact that he won't roll for side. I would have been really happy to have the opposite and try to push for the lake or the hill. I think it would have been huge for me. 48 Blood Fleur with distracting behind the wall. I think it's very hard to approach. Nice solution found with the giant to put pressure on chariot, which allows me to kill the chariot. Turn 4 Ogre can Chaff Watch. I think here what I'm referring to is the fact that I could have been I could have avoided the Chaff of the Slave. I guess so. Yeah, possibly, yeah. And try to, because the idea was to threaten the flank of them, and if the slave kind of chaff me because I position a bit better to the center, maybe but I don't think I had a lot of room because of his line of sight here. I don't know, maybe I could have avoided the chaff, maybe not. I'm not sure about that. Question mark here. Let's go back. Turn 5. Yeah, wrong charge choice with the Tuskers. Didn't anticipate. We finished turn 5, and I think the best choice would have been either the Tusker alone or the Tigers if there is nice overrun. Turn 5, Vermin Swarm. Strong Magic Phase to punish my charge choice. Because without the magic, I think without Rot Within and the buffs, I could have possibly stuck the combat. I think I wasn't too far, but obviously Rot Within 3 dice against 4 is huge because it gets me to strike on 4+ in the front, which changed a lot. I think so. Yeah. I liked a bit Magic Missile in this matchup. I think his arena, like I said, could have been out of shooting range at least 2 turns. Basically, the idea of the arena in this matchup just to be annoying for me, so it could have been further to the left and just push to my flank slowly and force me to turn around at some point. And I think for me, the save 12-8 was doable. I tried to push a bit more, but didn't work, and at the end ended up being a 10-10. I think I had in hand something close to a 12, and I could have been playing safe from there and just keeping the 12, which would have been decent too. To be honest, the words from my coach trying to get points and so on also was in my head to try to create something and get more points, but at the end it didn't work, and it worked almost against me, where it ended up being a 10-10. We still ended up being quite on a solid win, thanks mainly to a big win from Paul. As you can see, the rest is very drawish. Every game between 8 and 12. Just this one game where we won 20-0, and this makes us winning the round 92-68. So as you can see in team of 8, when you take a big win or big loss, it's huge. I mean, it's you see the gap created here, just crazy. Most of the other game are just drawish, or they won or we won. But basically this creates a huge gap between us. So yeah, huge win from Paul here. Guys, that's all after this game. So 92 points is what we wanted, more or less. It's a solid win. This allows us to play the final against Poland, who won against TRC. So it's going to be an exciting game. They have an advantage on us, definitely on points before the last round. They have like 15 points margin or 17. So we know that we need to get a big win to win the tournament, but at least we're going to play the final and going to try our best to win the round, and maybe even more to try to win it. So definitely where we want to be at the round 5 of such a big tournament. Thanks a lot guys for watching the battle report, and talk to you soon on the channel. Bye.